Hey everybody, I'm here today to tell you where to look while driving. In this video, I'll be going over the basics of where you should be looking while you're driving, whether you're driving in a straight line, turning right, turning left, or anything else. Now, without further ado, let's get right into the video. This is where you should be looking while you're driving. You should be looking far ahead in front of your car. Now let me explain something to you. When people first get their license, they tend to look directly in front of the hood of their car. When they're driving, whether they're making a turn or driving straight or anything else, they tend to look directly in front of the hood of their car. And that's simply because moving this vehicle is a new experience for them, so they're treating it in the same way that they would if they were riding a bike or riding a scooter for the first time or anything like that. They're going to look directly in front of the vehicle. But driving a car is very different from those things in the sense that you have to look even further ahead, okay? That's the way to be the safest driver. Now let me explain something else to you. When you look far ahead, okay, you can still see what's going on in the front of your car in your peripheral vision. So if I'm looking far ahead down the street over here, I can still see what's happening in the front of my car directly in my peripheral vision towards the bottom of my vision, okay? So I can still see both things. But looking further ahead is going to do a few things. Number one, it's going to prepare you for what is happening further ahead in the road. So if you look further ahead, you're going to be prepared to react. Whether it is, someone slamming their brakes, whether it is a squirrel running onto the road, whatever the case is, you're going to be prepared to react. Whether it's an obstacle in the middle of the road that you have to either come to a stop before or maneuver around, you're going to be ready to do what it takes to drive safely much earlier when you're looking further ahead, okay? There's also no need to look directly in front of your hood, like directly in front of your car. Now let me tell you why. When you're driving, if I'm looking further ahead and I'm traveling at a decent speed, let's say I'm driving 40 kilometers an hour on this street, and I'm looking further ahead. The part that I'm looking at further ahead, I'm actually going to pass that point in a matter of seconds. So you're constantly looking at what will be in front of your car momentarily. This way you can be ready for it for when it actually gets to the front of your car. Something like a really big pothole that you want to avoid or slow down for or anything like that. If you're looking further ahead, you're going to see it in advance. Now, with that being said, many new drivers also think that when you're making a turn left or right, that you have to look directly in front of the car because you're maneuvering the vehicle. Now, before you actually start to turn, you are going to look in front of your car. So, let's say I was making a left-hand turn, and I was about to make the turn. I would be looking far ahead, but I would also glance in the front of my car. And that's to show me what's going on directly in front of my car. But then, when I actually start making the turn, I'm looking further ahead. And that's because you don't want any surprises, okay? Now, if you look at the front of your car when you're driving straight, you might get surprised by something that you didn't see in advance. But when you're doing that, when you're making a turn left or right, the chances of you being surprised by something or someone are even greater because you really can't see much in the peripheral vision when you're turning if you're just looking in front of your car. However, on the other hand, if you do look ahead when you're turning, you're going to see everything that is in the path of your turn, and you can adjust your movements according to what you need to do. Also, it allows you to become a much smoother driver. So it increases the level of safety because you see what's happening before you encounter it, but it also allows you to become a much smoother driver. And that's because if I'm trying to stay centered in a lane and I'm looking right in front of the car, I'm going to make some adjustments to the left and to the right constantly. And I might be just swerving a little bit to the left and to the right while I'm trying to stay centered in a straight line. But if I look further ahead, what's going to happen is I'm going to allow myself to make the micro adjustments instead of the macro adjustments. If you look in front of the car, you're making macro adjustments with the steering wheel. Okay, you're almost like dancing with the steering wheel. If you're looking further ahead, you end up making these tiny little adjustments, which keeps your driving smooth. It perfects those curves of your turns, and it also keeps you in a nice straight centered line if you're just trying to stay centered in a lane. But that's basically it. That is where to look while driving. You want to look further ahead, okay? Now, there is one simple exception, and that is when you're doing something that requires precision. Like when you're parking a car forward into a parking spot, and you're just, inching into the parking spot. You don't want to scrape the cars beside you. Or when you're driving forward and you want to stop before a certain milestone. Let's say you're driving forward and you want to stop before your front bumper actually hits the wall. You want to look at your front bumper. So if you're making precision movements at slow speeds, very slow speeds, that's when you want to look in front of the car. At all other times, you want to look further ahead. But that's basically it. In this video, I've told you where to look while driving. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below as a comment. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more great car and driving videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.